Plagiarism. Plagiarism is the unauthorized use or close imitation of the language and thoughts of another author and the representation of them as one's own original work. In college courses, we are continuously using other people's ideas. We read them in texts, hear them in lecture, discuss them in class and incorporate them into our own writing. As a result, it is very important that we give credit where it is due. Plagiarism is using others' ideas and words without clearly acknowledging the sources of that information. As we read, study, perform experiments and gather perspectives, we are drawing on another people's ideas. Building on their ideas and experiences, we create our own. When we put our ideas on paper, our teachers want to distinguish between the ideas borrowed from other people and our own newly recent perspectives or conclusions. We make these distinctions in a written paper by citing the sources for other ideas. Providing appropriate citations will also help readers who are interested in our topic and additional related material to read. When we cite a source, we are using an expert's ideas as proof evidence of a new idea that we are trying to communicate to the reader. To avoid plagiarism, we must give credit whenever we use another people's ideas, option or theory, any facts, statistics, graphs, drawings, any pieces of information that are not common knowledge, quotation of another person's actual spoken or written words. Significance of plagiarism towards scientific writing and publishing. Scientific writing can be a complex and arduous process, for it simultaneously demands clarity and conciseness, two elements that often clash with each other. In addition, accuracy and integrity are fundamental components of the scientific enterprise and therefore of scientific writing. Thus, good scientific writing must be characterized by clear expression, conciseness, accuracy of what is being reported, and perhaps most importantly, honesty. In scientific writing, perhaps the most widely recognized unethical lapse is plagiarism. One example is reporting and discussing results of one's research in the context of literature that is supportive of our conclusions, while at the same time ignoring evidence that is contrary to our findings. Another writing malpractice occurs when another author's review of a literature is used, yet the reader is led to believe that the current author has conducted the actual review. Plagiarism can manifest itself in a variety of ways, and it is not just confined to student papers or published articles or books. For example, consider a scientist who makes a presentation at a conference and discusses at length an idea or concept that had already been proposed by someone else and that is not considered common knowledge. During his presentation, he fails to fully acknowledge the specific source of the idea and consequently misleads the audience into thinking that he was the originator of that idea. This too may constitute an instance of plagiarism. In the sciences, as in most other scholarly endeavors, ethical writing demands that ideas, data and conclusions that are borrowed from others and used as a foundation of one's own contributions to the literature must be properly acknowledged. The specific manner in which we make such acknowledgement varies from discipline to discipline. However, source attribution typically takes the form of either a footnote or a reference citation. Duplicate publication involves publishing the same material in the same format in more than one journal, book or internet resources. Some editors are developing policies in an effort to prevent duplicate publication. A manuscript to be published only if it has not been submitted somewhere else. Plagiarism and the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web has become a popular source of information for students, and many questions have arisen about how to avoid plagiarizing these sources. In most cases, the same rules apply as to a printed source. When a writer must refer to ideas or quote from a World Wide Web site, he must cite that source. If a writer wants to use visual information from a World Wide Web site, many of the same rules apply. Copying visual information or graphics from a World Wide Web site or from a printed source is very similar to quoting information, and source of the visual information and the source of the visual information or graphic must be cited. These rules also apply to other users of textual or visual information from the World Wide Web sites. For example, if a student is constructing a web page as a class project and copies graphics or visual information from other sites, he must also provide information about the source of this information. In this case, it might be a good idea to obtain permission from the site's owner before using the graphics.